So Earth's upper atmosphere could hold a missing piece of the universe, new study hints. And this is brand new. This is from 11 hours ago today. And it's weird. This is a weird one because I was a little surprised to find some of the implications as part of this, the larger concepts. As you know me, I love the cosmic stuff. But here you go. This is straight from the article. I'm going to read a little bit of this so we get the gist of what's happening here. But this one will blow your mind, I think. So Earth may be swimming through an ocean of dark matter. And waves in that invisible ocean lapping against our planet's upper atmosphere may generate detectable radio waves that allow us to finally find this elusive component of the universe, according to new theoretical research. A wealth of astrophysical and cosmological evidence points to the existence of dark matter, from the inexplicable rotation curves of certain galaxies to the growth of the largest structures in the universe. Attempts to explain this wide variety of observations with alternative formulations of gravity have failed, so the vast majority of astronomers think dark matter is some unknown form of matter that only rarely interacts with light or with normal matter. Now, that particular thing, I'll mark our place here, we'll get back to that in a second. The weird part about that is when you think of things in the paranormal aspect, right? You think of the veil. The veil specifically is where on the other side is where everything resides. That is not of this realm. Okay, it's going to be all the ghosts and the goblins and the demigods and all the things we're always talking about. They seem to have some presence elsewhere, not in this space, but in some other space as well, maybe simultaneously, right? Well, we have this situation of this happening and considering, expanding the veil through dark matter, which, again, a lot of ways to look at dark matter. We've considered it as dark matter aliens, entities, all kinds of weird stuff right in the past as part of these discussions. But in this particular case, it made me wonder, as this starts, the discussion here, as if the veil itself is dark matter. It is sort of that oceanic space that maybe even like quantum foam or the ether as it has been known in, let's say, days gone by. But this new one here and the new way this comes together is even more strange. So back to this. So it's a very broad idea that encompasses a lot of possibilities. As I said there, now I'm talking the paranormal woo style possibilities, but in this one, dark matter may be made of massive particles, but searches for these kinds of particles have largely turned up empty. So an intriguing alternative is that dark matter is exceptionally light, either in the form of theoretical particles known as axions or as an exotic form of photon that carries a bit of mass. With that incredible lightness, millions of times lighter than the lightest known particles, dark matter could act in very strange ways. In particular, instead of appearing as individual point-like bullets, the dark matter would behave more like large waves that slosh around the cosmos. Now we're talking, right? A river of something, shout out rivers, except ocean style out there in the cosmos. So in a recent study published to the preprint server ARXIV, physicists explored models of ultralight dark matter that wasn't entirely dark, allowing it to interact extremely rarely with normal matter. Most of the time, these interactions barely registered, producing nothing detectable. But in rare cases, the dark matter and normal matter interacted enough to produce a sizable amount of radio waves. Now, where have we heard that before? The radio waves, right? The cosmic radio waves as part of this discussion, and even to the point where we've talked about them in alien terms. The wow signal, things like this, right? As just a basis for that conversation where that begins. But if we're talking about some sort of maybe universal connection, Indra's web and things like this, then this particular thing starts to raise an eyebrow. At least it makes me raise an eyebrow, right? So again, in rare cases, the dark matter and normal matter interacted enough to produce a sizable amount of radio waves. I wonder, right? So if this would occur, and this is where this gets wild. Hang tight. This is a pretty good article, pretty long. I encourage you to read it in full if you're into this idea and these ideas. So this would occur, the radio waves here with dark matter, this would occur when the dark matter encountered a plasma and when the frequency of dark matter waves lined up with the frequency of plasma waves. When this happened, a resonance would occur, amplifying the interaction and producing radiation in the form of radio waves, the team's model suggested. And so that particular thing, so they're talking about the Earth's ionosphere, and we'll get back to that momentarily. But so notice that they're describing our ionosphere, and not just that, the plasma as it is, sort of the heliosphere of the sun itself. And maybe, just maybe, this is the catalyst that sort of supercharges dark matter to become something tangible to us, something tangible that we can actually use, or let's say tune into as some sort of cosmic frequency. Okay. Now, with that in mind, a lot of things were kind of spinning through my head as I was thinking about these ideas, and specifically things like synchronicity. Carl Jung's synchronicity, the meaningful coincidence, and where these things come from cosmically, right? Like, how could you possibly have this cosmic framework that is able to not just individually reach out to a particular person, a particular individual, and show them, like maybe the cosmos itself winking at them through these meaningful coincidences? Or not just that, what about the larger construct of information kept in the cosmos, something like the Akashic Records, like I said when we began? So I don't know, there's a lot of ways to look at this, of course, and I'm calling this tonight Expanding the Veil for that exact reason. Now, the veil itself, let's do this real quick. One moment. Hold on just a second here. Got all kinds of stuff prepared, but I want to make sure that we do this appropriately and properly. Okay, so now the veil, and this is the part that kind of made me go, all right, wait a minute. Now, what are we dealing with here, right? Yeah, dark matter surfing in the matrix, exactly. So here we go. So as part of this larger context here, let's consider the veil, okay? Back to the veil and the idea of it. So specifically, the concept of the paranormal veil is a barrier between the physical world and the spiritual or otherworldly realms. And of course, it adds a twist to this, to the larger context, because it could bring things like not just these cosmic radio waves we're talking about, but ideas like animism and panpsychism into the larger fold, okay? Meaning that everything out there has some level of consciousness, or at least it's able to tap into sort of the consciousness of the cosmos itself, okay? Through maybe this expansion of dark matter. But notice it doesn't activate until it reaches some sort of plasmic field, or we'll get to the ionosphere bit in a minute here. But anyway, so back to the veil. So the veil itself, now the veil is often thought to separate our tangible reality from dimensions inhabited by spirits, entities, and other forms of consciousness. Integrating this idea into our broader theories, as we're doing tonight, we can envision how the paranormal veil intersects with cosmic radio waves in the interconnected consciousness of the universe. Where are we at time-wise? Good. Okay, so cosmic radio waves carrying information from across time and space might interact with the paranormal veil, allowing glimpses into these otherworldly realms. As these waves traverse the veil, they can encode not only the events and consciousness of our physical universe, but also the experiences and essences of entities beyond the veil. Now, okay, we'll bookmark that and get back to that momentarily as well. And so now to the ionosphere. And here's where this gets incredibly weird, because so we're dealing with plasma interacting with dark matter in a, again, theoretical, hypothetical, scientific model here. But now we get into the ionosphere. So Earth's ionosphere is the thin, hot layer of the upper atmosphere, and it consists of a loose collection of ionized particles or charged particles, also known as plasma. Okay, it naturally has waves sloshing through it, and the researchers discovered that those waves can interact with waves of hypothetical dark matter that might be washing over Earth. The radio waves produced by this interaction would be barely detectable, but the researchers found that by using a carefully tuned radio antenna to search for a specific frequency of radio waves over the course of a year, they might be able to detect those waves. Now, we're talking about cosmic radio waves that seem to be maybe even nebulous in the sense of undetectable in the vacuum itself. However, notice when this comes into contact with not just the heliosphere of the sun and maybe an actual solar system, but even the ionosphere of a planet like Earth, then suddenly, maybe we're able to tune in like a cosmic radio to something like the Akashic Record itself, and now back up to something like a Carl Jung meaningful coincidence and synchronicities. Well, maybe this is where all this information comes from entirely. So anyway, put that in your back pocket. We'll think about that as we go tonight. Lots of ways to consider this, but basically, does this surprise you at all? And does it seem like maybe this is, well, a way to tune into the Akashic Record at large? It seems at least tantalizing enough for me to consider the possibility. As you know, no truth to be found here, just wild ideas by dark of night. It is our calling card, and it is why we do this show, to kind of detach from reality for a moment and consider what might be that hasn't been discussed or thought about just yet. Now, this starts us where I just explained. The upper atmosphere, often seen as a mere boundary between Earth and space, might hold secrets that could revolutionize our understanding of the universe. A recent study suggests that this lofty region could be a reservoir for dark matter, the elusive substance that makes up about 27% of the universe's mass and energy, but remains largely undetectable by conventional means. This revelation hints at the possibility that Earth's upper atmosphere might be more than just a transitional zone, and it could be a missing piece in the cosmic puzzle instead. Dark matter is one of the most profound mysteries in modern physics. As we know, we talk about it quite often on the show. And unlike ordinary matter, it does not emit, absorb, or reflect light, making it invisible to telescopes and other observational instruments. Its presence is inferred from gravitational effects on visible matter, such as the rotation of galaxies and the blending of light from distant stars. The study in question posits that dark matter particles, particularly a hypothetical type known as axions, could accumulate in the upper atmosphere. Okay, so now we're talking about sort of a soup of axions in the upper atmosphere, collecting information and possibly even sending, well, universal data, I guess, in some capacity, which is absolutely wild to consider. However, so where are we at? This groundbreaking idea opens a plethora of speculative possibilities. It, of course, inviting us to imagine the upper atmosphere as a dynamic and complex frontier, ripe with potential discoveries that blur the line between science and science fiction, which is, yeah, exactly what Troubled Minds is basically all about, right? As I always say, sort of science fiction informing the science of the future. I think this is exactly the way this goes. But in any case, wild to me that suddenly you have dark matter, which is an incredibly undetectable thing. It's one of those things that is absolutely not anything other than theories and axions, and people still trying to figure this out. But now they have a new model that suggests that when it interacts with plasma, including in our heliosphere, then, well, these radio waves become detectable. Almost like some sort of, remember those decoder rings? You guys who were old enough that got them in what, like they were part of Cracker Jacks or things like this. You guys remember those things? Like they'd have like these television shows and you'd watch them and it'd be like, get the decoder ring and follow along with Timmy as he tries to find the secrets of the universe. Well, something like this. And it's just like this plastic little decoder ring where you turn the letters and follow the clues and, you find the answer, right? Well, this is kind of like a cosmic decoder ring, except it's used with plasma. And plasma, in particular, is something we've talked about in the past as even up to and including plasma as a possible form of life, okay? And alien life, of course, as you would define it. Lots of ways to consider that. But unbelievable that this is one of those things that is kind of leaking out here and turning this into, well, Lord knows what. I think that becomes the wild part here. So basically, I know that's a long-winded way to start all this, but hey, it is a talk show after all. Like I said, and one of the funny things that, as I always say, one of the main criticisms I get is that I talk too much. It's a talk show. Just saying. I'm just saying. But what are your thoughts on this? Is it strange to you that these radio waves that actually go from an undetectable dark matter scientifically in any capacity whatsoever other than theoretically, suddenly there's another way to look at this and consider that it's something quite a bit different, and it may actually be able to decode these radio waves, dark matter, into particular radio waves. Now, as we've talked about in the past, these radio waves themselves are, well, what are they? They could carry information. I mean, look at our radio waves on Earth. They carry radio through the sky, right? So it does make me wonder what this looks like in the larger context and why plasma in some cases here is possibly the way to unlock, I don't know, dare I say the Akashic Records, dare I say the veil itself, including, of course, I'm just calling this expanding the veil for that reason, is that maybe, just maybe, this is exactly what we're dealing with in the cosmic space of information, of integrated information theory, except in the larger context, we start to see what's actually out there when we interact dark matter with plasma itself. I don't know, wild stuff to begin, and no answers for me, as you know. And I am still dealing with a little bit of headaches here, but I got it mostly handled. So bear with me as we go. And I am going to take some time off, by the way, just a little programming note, housekeeping. Probably take the rest of the week off, just a FYI. I know, sorry about that, but it's something I got to handle here. I got some things happening with some physical therapy tools and some particular stretches, and it is just look up if you're interested in what this might be. or it is actually, it's called the migraine muscle, and it's like tweaked and it's killing me. But anyway, so I will take some time off for the rest of the week and maybe next week, and we'll see how long this goes. But I think rest is the best thing here. And this is brought on by stress, and wouldn't you know it, right? So yeah. Anyway, so what do you know about this? We're talking expanding the veil tonight, the oceans of dark matter creating these radio waves when it interacts with plasma itself. Wild, right? It's wild for me to consider. It's probably wild for you to consider, unless, of course, you're a troubled mind through and through. And that probably puts us where we need to be. We'll take a quick break early because I need to go rub my head here. And so I hope you guys are doing well tonight. And I will try and say hi to the chat as we go, trying to do this normally. But as you know, sometimes things don't work out as planned. So if you want to be part of the show tonight, we are taking your calls at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. Looks like we got James and Matthew in Colorado coming up. Appreciate it very much, guys. And that's that. That puts us where we need to be, like I said. And yeah, I don't know. Expanding the veil, I'm calling this. Oceans of dark matter. Whoa, that's too loud. Sorry about that. Oceans of dark matter radio waves. And what does this look like when these things actually interact with plasma? Doesn't that seem strange in a lot of ways? I mean, we talked about plasma quite a lot on the show, not just as possible conscious entities, alien entities, but in this case, it seems like it might be one of the keys to unlocking the secrets of dark matter.